around the house. Today will be overview for 2016 Diesel 2.8 Duramax. Some of the aftermarket pieces that I've put on already when I first got the truck was the bug deflector, tonneau cover, bed liner, which was a spray-in bed liner, and the bug guard. This truck has 169,000 miles after 6 years, about 900 miles away from 170,000 miles. So I figured I'd do a review on it because a lot of people don't like Chevy. This one is in really good shape. I haven't had very many problems with it after probably the first 5,000 miles or so. As far as the things that I put on there, I'm on my third set of brakes. Second set of windshield wipers, I have a third set that I have to put on. I got that in the back of the truck as we speak, actually. Oil changes I do every 5,000 to 7,000 miles. Fuel filters I change every 40,000 miles. I'm on my fourth set of fuel filters. I used to do it, have the dealership do it when I first got the truck because the fuel filters weren't available. And now that they are available, I just go ahead and do it myself. It was about $130 to have the dealership do it. I could do it for about $40, a little bit less. So it is a lot cheaper to do it yourself. I have a video on YouTube if you want to watch it to see how easy it is to do. Around 5,000 miles and 23,000 miles, I had a bad accelerator cable, and the dealership covered that under warranty, so that was no cost out of pocket. I do have right now a leak on my third brake light, and the water's coming in and getting my headliner all wet, so I have to go and check that out. But I'll show you how you can see the water inside there, and that's pretty much it. So let me go ahead and do the overview, and I'll go ahead and pop the hood and we'll go look at that. Over in the left hand corner, this is where the radiator fluid goes. The air filter, I've replaced that one time in the 170,000 miles. I should have done it a couple other times, but I thought the dealership was doing it as part of the courtesy for the oil changes, but they weren't doing that. I put in the oil right here in the top, the dipstick for the oil, your brake fluid reservoir. I put in a new battery after 6 years of use. It didn't really need it, but I replaced it while it was still warm outside. It is 6 years. You probably get about 7 years on a battery. Underneath here is your fuse banks, windshield washer fluid. If you were to jump the car, this is your positive lug, and then this is your ground lug. I did have some issues with some rodents where they were chewing the wires. I put some wire loom on here. You could see under the hood how they were eating the insulation. So I hope the rodent problem has gone away. The driving lights, I replaced them with a LED. They used to be a light bulb. They're not. They're a lot brighter than what they used to be with the light bulb. As far as the tires, I'm on my second set of tires. These have about 19,000 miles on them. I'm on my second set of rotors. I got a higher end rotor from Napa, and they tend to work very well. As you can see, they don't rust like the common rotors do, and I'll show you that on the back. The running boards, they were installed at the dealership, actually before I got the car. And then you can see the back rotor, how it is has that rusted edge. That's what happens when you get the cheaper rotor. The tonneau cover was put in from the dealership, and right underneath the door handle, I have the door handle of the tailgate has the rear camera. The floor mats were installed by Chevy when I picked it up. Has the Chevy logo on it. The steering wheel is showing a little bit of wear, but it does have 160,000 miles on it. But if you look at the seats hold up very well. I don't have much wear and tear on them at all. A little bit of wrinkles. And then just in this area here, it's probably the only area where it's just starting to tear. So on the steering wheel, I have a check mark, and then up, down, left, right, and that basically changes the gauges. So if I hit the down arrow, it tells you my trip mileage. Down arrow again, it's fuel range. Down arrow again, it's the fuel economy, and so on. Oil life, 26%. If you want to reset that, you just press and hold the check mark. Tire pressure. One thing to note about this, whenever you press and hold the check mark, it'll do an auto calibrate and of what tire goes where. And for some reason it doesn't do that, so it's inaccurate. They're actually in a crisscross pattern is the actual tire. Fuel economy, based on 450 miles, if you're able to see that, I'm getting 23.6 miles to a gallon, and out of 450 miles, the best is 36.7. You can see my mileage at the bottom, 169,113 miles. Battery voltage, 13.6. Before I started changing my battery, my average was around 12.3. I figured I should change that. My oil pressure is reading 59 psi. That's probably because the engine's still cold. It normally runs around 40, and as the oil gets older, it'll probably stoop down to around 15, 20. And then be sure to start changing oil when it starts doing that. Fuel filter life. I normally change the fuel filter when it's down to around 10%. That's about 40,000 miles. And then the engine hours, 401 hours. And I had originally around 3,800. But what happened was at 150,000 miles, they recommend changing the timing belt. And whenever they reset the computer, because it comes up with a message, service timing belt, it reset the engine hours. So the engine hours is actually not correct. And then all these things that I was scrolling through, you could set up to have whatever that you want, but it is a good idea to put it on as many as you can, just so as you're driving down the road you can monitor, your oil life and things like that. One other problem that I'm having is this cowl that supposed to show the compass. I believe there is a module behind the mirror that has the information on the location of the truck. That is actually what allows it to give you your compass readings. If you can see on here, there's a red light, and that means that there is a problem. So to fix that, it's $600. You can't buy it used, and it has to be programmed to the car. So I'm not really worried about the compass, but one negative that when this doesn't know whatever the location that it is, the clock is set up to set the time, and if you go into a different time zone, it would adjust. Daylight savings time, it would adjust all automatically. Now that the truck doesn't know where it is, then you have to set the clock manually. There is also an app on your phone to where you could start your vehicle anywhere in the country just through the app on your phone. It also monitors tire pressure, fuel, and all other types of diagnostics. And without the truck knowing where it is, that app does not work. So there's a couple negatives. Is it worth $600 to get fixed? Maybe if it were new, but with 160,000 miles, I don't think that's worth it. So if there's anything other that you would like to hear about the truck, I'm happy to answer any of your questions. And this truck has really been doing well for me, and I'm going to try to get 300,000 miles out of it before I get rid of it. So we'll see how that works, and we'll see what condition that it's in after that. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.